documentary, we will all learn about the reef's amazing inhabitants, what's threatening the reef, what's happening to help save the reef, and what everyday people like you can do to help save it. So come on, let's discover. The Great Barrier Reef is World Heritage listed and is situated in northern Queensland. This reef is extremely biodiverse. It is home to 411 species of hard coral, 1,625 species of bony fish, 6 out of the 7 sea turtle species, 134 species of sharks and ray, not to mention the 3,000 species of mollusks. It was a long trip by boat, but I was relieved when we arrived and could start exploring. The Great Barrier Reef is best known for its marine life, so come on, let's see what we can find. This is a green sea turtle. Unfortunately, all sea turtle species are under threat, and all for the same reasons. One huge threat facing sea turtles is rubbish and plastic. Sea turtles eat plastic bags, get wrapped up in fishing line, drown in ghost gear, which is abandoned fishing nets, get straws and plastic forks stuck in their noses. But one of the worst pieces of rubbish for sea turtles are balloons. So balloons are so bad for sea turtles because if a turtle swallows one, they can get something called floating syndrome. So what floating syndrome does to a turtle is make the turtle float on the surface of the water so they can't dive down to eat, and they are also more likely to get hit by boats. Some other threats that face sea turtles are getting trapped in crab pots, as well as the poaching for their meat and eggs. A green sea turtle's diet mainly consists of seagrass. This species of turtle is so important to the reef because when they eat the seagrass, it's like giving it a haircut, and this benefits many fish species. There is always a story to tell, like with these tracks. So it is late in the season now, it is hatchling season. So that's when all the hatchlings should come out and go to the ocean. But sometimes there are late turtles. So these are fresh tracks of a sea turtle, and it would have came up like last night, and I can tell they're fresh because there's no footprints on here, well, very few, and it's not been washed away by the ocean. So these marks here are the flippers, and this line here would be the tail. Come on. So she's came up here to nest in here. Now it would have been a high tide, because those marks don't go all the way down to the beach. So she would have came up here. Now there are a couple of turtle nests here. That's one there. But the one that is hers is this one. This is her nest. This one is the most fresh. So she came to nest under this plant, and then after a couple of hours of laying her eggs, she came through here. That's another turtle nest. That one's a bit old. All the palm fronds and stuff have been on that. Now she came back into the ocean this way. By now it would be low tide, but the tide would be a little bit higher than it is now because it doesn't go all the way to the ocean. These are flipper marks going back down to the ocean. Tail mark, tail mark, tail mark, tail mark. The first hour of a sea turtle's life is the most dangerous part of their life, as they are prey for creatures like birds and crabs. One threat which I did not mention before was global warming. Now, this affects sea turtles as the temperature of their nest determines their gender, and with temperatures rising all the time, the majority of them are becoming females, leaving a smaller and smaller gene pool and less males to mate with. This is one of the sea turtle hatchlings we found, but unfortunately, this one wasn't going too well. The left side of his body wasn't functioning properly. Unfortunately, only 1 in 1,000 sea turtle hatchlings reach sexual maturity. This is the hawksbill sea turtle. Now, unfortunately, they are going a little bit worse than the green sea turtle, as they are classed as critically endangered, and green sea turtles are classed as endangered. You can easily identify hawksbill sea turtles by their parrot-like beak, which is used to get their food, sponges, out of crevices, and their serrated shell. Despite sea turtles being so endangered, there is a lot of conservation work happening to try and save them. There are countless wildlife hospitals around the world that rescue injured sea turtles, rehabilitate them, and when they are ready, release them back into the wild. Many councils and organisations have put up fishing line bins to reduce the amount of tackle ending up in the environment. Countless organisations clean up beaches and coastlines to reduce the threat of animals like sea turtles becoming entangled or eating rubbish. Around the world, there are many places which have banned plastic bags. There are also many places which have banned balloons or have restrictions on mass balloon releases or the amount of balloons you are allowed to release. San Francisco has banned styrofoam and has a law that all new buildings must have solar panels. These are black-tip reef sharks. Now, unfortunately, just like so many other shark species, they are getting pushed closer and closer to extinction as they are classed as near threatened. Now, just like so many other shark species, they won't attack you unless you harass them. Black-tip reef sharks only grow to 1.4 meters and rarely dive below 10 meters deep. Their main food source is fish, but they will also feed on squid, mollusks, and crustaceans. Their home range is 7 square kilometers in size. Black-tip reef shark pups are born inside their mothers' bodies and growing there until they are large enough to fend for themselves, and even then they are very vulnerable to predators. Black-tip reef sharks grow very slowly, and their mothers will have 3 to 4 pups every 1 to 2 years. Sharks are the world's most misunderstood animal, and only 4 people die a year from sharks. And every year in Australia, only 1 person dies a year from sharks. But in Australia in 2013, 10,000 people died from smoking. You are also more likely to die from falling off ladders or driving your car. Most shark species are harmless and won't attack you. The majority of people are scared of sharks because of movies like Jaws and the media giving them such a bad rap. Only 4 people die a year from sharks, but every single year we kill 100 million sharks. Sharks' threats include hunting for their fins, meat, oil, and teeth. There are shark products all around the world. Your local supermarket and fish and chip shop will probably sell shark meat, but it is often called flake or boneless fillet. Becoming bycatch by commercial fishermen, being hunted for sport, shark culling programs, and rubbish. Despite all this, there is a lot happening to help save sharks. There are many individuals and organisations campaigning for the conservation of sharks. This is the grey nurse shark, and it is the world's first ever protected shark, and now they are coming back from the brink of extinction. This is the cow-tail stingray. They are also known as banana-tail rays, fin-tail rays, and feather-tail rays. They feed on bony fish, crustaceans, mollusks, and worms. Cow-tail stingrays can grow to 1.8 meters across and 3 meters long, but when they are born, they are only 20 centimeters across. They are bottom-dwelling stingrays. Unfortunately, in the wild, they are declining because they are hunted and made into leather products. This is a white-spotted eagle ray. Unlike most stingrays, they spend hardly any time resting on the bottom of the ocean. Instead, they spend most of their time swimming. White-spotted eagle rays can jump out of the water and have even landed on boats before. Believe it or not, their tail can grow to 9 meters in length, and these rays can grow to 3 meters across. They are found in warm, temperate and tropical waters around the globe. Their favourite food is shellfish and clams, but their diet also consists of mollusks and crustaceans. Their food is crushed up by plate-like teeth that they have. A female will give birth to 2 to 4 young. When they are born, they are only 25 centimeters across. This is the porcupine stingray. Now, unlike most stingray species, this species of stingray does not have a poisonous barb. This is because their body is covered in sharp denticles. Stingrays are incredibly misunderstood. I've swam with stingrays many times and I've never been attacked. What happened with Steve Irwin was a one-off. Whenever I got too close to a stingray's liking, they always moved away. Today I'm going for my first ever dive and you're coming with me. I'm not just diving anywhere, I'm diving at the Herrenbommy, which has been ranked in the top 10 dive sites in the world by Jacques Cousteau. I knew that this dive was going to be pretty cool, but when I came down into the water, I was hit with the amount of light and colour and life from this reef. It was absolutely amazing. This was the highlight of my life. It was amazing. There was so many fish, there was turtles, there was massive boulder corals. It was absolutely amazing. And if everyone did this dive, there would be a lot more people fighting for the reef. The Great Barrier Reef isn't just marine life. There is also a lot of terrestrial life as well. So come on, let's see what we can find. This is a black noddy. 100,000 of these amazing birds nest on Heron Island in the warmer months. They greet each other by nodding. Black noddies grow to 35 centimeters in length. These noddies will go out to fish and will return in the evening. Black noddies with chicks will leave them behind while they go fishing. This is Goodwit, a black noddy chick which I would watch over each afternoon. It was always fascinating to see him eat. This is a buff-banded rail. They are extremely territorial, but especially when chicks are present. Buff-bandeds are one of Australia's largest and most widespread rail species. They are extremely elusive on the mainland of Australia, but on the reef, they are everywhere. They are opportunistic feeders. They will feed on food scraps and unattended eggs from ground-dwelling seabirds. So this is an eastern reef heron. Not too fond of the camera, are you? So these birds can be born in one of two colours. They can be born a white colour, like this one, or they can be born a dark grey colour. Now the dark grey morph is actually more common in Moreton Bay than the white morph. And during my stay here on Heron, I've seen a lot more grey ones than white. Now these herons don't get overly big, And they feed on things like fish, so they'll hunt on the beaches and in the shallow water for stuff like fish. They're quite amazing animals. Now, the colour difference isn't a thing about gender, it's actually just the way that they're born. Like, some people are born girls and some are born boys. These are absolutely amazing herons and are beautiful.
This is my little friend Fluffy. Now Fluffy is a mutton bird chick, also known as it's alright. Shearwater. So there are three species of birds that live that breed on Heron Island, and one of them are mutton birds. Now his or her mother, would probably be out catching fish and other food for him right now. Down in Tasmania, there's an island called Chappahaw Island, and the local tiger snake species there, the Chappahaw Island tiger snakes, absolutely love these guys for dinner. Just leave you now, okay? All good? All good, Fluffy?
Now, this is a very special tree that I want to show you. This is a Pisonia tree, but scientific name is Pisonia grandis. Now, these trees are actually an endangered species, so the threats are a worm that can get into the tree, and this worm actually kills them. So, Heron Island has introduced with permission a type of wasp that can kill this worm to help save these trees. Now, around 80% of their population is found here on Heron Island. So they're huge Pisonia grandis forest here on the island. And these trees provide very important nesting spots for black noddies to breed and raise their young in. But the Pisonia trees can also kill these noddies. So the seeds of the Pisonia grandis trees can get stuck into these noddies' feathers, so the noddies fall down, they can't fly, and then gradually as they die, they'll compost back into the soil and give nutrients to the soil and help the Pisonia tree. This sounds very harsh, but this is nature's way. But unfortunately, the Great Barrier Reef is under immense threat. Already, half of its coral is dead. Coral bleaching is probably the Great Barrier Reef's largest threat. So what is coral bleaching? Well, it is when coral dies because the water temperature becomes too hot for it, so it turns white and dies. This happens because of global warming. Another threat facing the reef are storms. Now, storms are natural occurrences that happen in nature, but global warming are making storms become more frequent and more destructive, and this is, of course, not good for the reef at all. Another massive threat to the reef is the crown of thorns starfish. The problem with this starfish is that it eats the coral. In just a single night, one of these starfish can eat its size in coral. In a year, one will eat 13 square meters of coral. On average, a female will lay 60 million eggs, but can be up to 250 million eggs. When they are 3 years old, they will start to eat coral. These starfish have outbreaks when farming runoff enters the reef. Another massive threat that faces the reef is dredging. Dredging happens in the coastal reef so that large bulk carriers can access the ports. It would horrify you to know that the sand, clay and rock that is dredged is dumped in the reef's waters. This affects water quality. It also affects coral and seagrass beds. Many areas that are dredged are breeding and feeding grounds for endangered dugongs and turtles. A massive dredging and dumping operation in Gladstone Harbour in 2010 to 2011 was to blame for dead dugongs, turtles, as well as diseased fish and crabs. Yet another threat to the reef is shipping. Each year, over 4,000 bulk carriers go through the reef's waters, and these ships can have collisions with wildlife, coral, and also have oil spills. Just like pretty much everywhere else, the Great Barrier Reef is affected by rubbish. I removed this piece of plastic from the reef's waters, and minutes after removing it, a turtle came swimming past. Before filming the segment with Fluffy, I had to remove quite a bit of plastic out of his burrow. I would walk around the place and pick up rubbish, and it's amazing because people come to the reef to experience nature. On my stay to the reef, I picked up over 24 straws. Despite this, there is a lot happening to help save the reef. One extremely successful program is Reef Guardians. 13 councils, 18 farmers and grazers, 9 commercial fishermen, and 293 schools are a part of this program, and each one of them have to take measures to help protect the reef. For example, Reef Guardian schools educate their children about the importance of the reef and what they can do to help save it. They also take sustainability measures like recycling and even do cleanups. Fight for the Reef has been an extremely successful campaign. So far they have protected Fitzroy Delta and Cape York from new port developments. They have also stopped 3 mega coal port expansions. Fortunately, the crown of thorns starfish does have some natural predators, for example triggerfishes and the endangered humphead wrasse. Many organisations remove crown of thorns starfish in the hundreds. In October of 2015, over 1,000 volunteers joined in the Great Barrier Reef clean-up. They cleaned up almost 12 tonnes of rubbish and filled up more than 350 bags across the Great Barrier Reef catchment, islands, creeks and beaches. There are many things that you can do to help save the Great Barrier Reef, like cleaning up your local beach, as not one Australian beach is litter-free. But if you don't live near a beach, you could clean up your local park, as the litter at your park could easily go down the drain into the ocean. Plant trees to soak up carbon emissions. Campaign for the Great Barrier Reef. Say no to balloons. Instead of using single-use plastic bottles, use refillable and reusable water bottles. If you are a fisherman, dispose of your tackle responsibly. Donate to organisations that are fighting for the reef. For example, the Australian Marine Conservation Society. Spread the message. If we all work together, we can save the reef and all of its inhabitants.
Well, that concludes our mini documentary. I hope you enjoyed it and learnt a thing or two about one of the greatest natural wonders, the Great Barrier Reef.